Welcome back to Krantz 4 News Weekend. So, Marc Allen, well, it wasn't easy for Marc Allen to become a success. I mean, he was fired as a busboy and a dishwasher for being too slow. He was fired as a typesetter for not showing up on time. He got kicked out of a Zen center for breaking the rules. Well, I'm happy to report that not only has Marc Allen become a success, but he's even written a book about the greatest secret of all. Thank you very much for joining us. First of all, before we even get to the book itself, did you have a hard time getting this published?
No, I know the publisher very well, so no problem there.
So maybe you better explain that.
Well, I own the publishing company. I started it the day I turned 30. I was unemployable through my 20s. I kept getting fired. I could not hold a job. So I had to start my own company, basically. But that day changed my life. The day I turned 30, I'd been a struggling poverty case through my 20s. And the day I turned 30, I woke up in a state of shock. I realized I wasn't a kid anymore. And I realized I had no goal in life. I'd kind of wandered around from one job to another, just making the rent, basically. So that day changed my life.
Right. Now, there was a movie called The Secret.
Yes.
Which apparently wasn't good enough for you, because that's why you kind of wrote this book. The book is called The Greatest Secret of All, Moving Beyond Abundance to a Life of True Fulfillment. Could you explain?
I loved the movie, and I thought it was great that it was so successful, #1 on Amazon for a long time. But it did just, I think, go only so far. And
for people who haven't seen the movie, just
it gave you the secret of abundance, the secret of manifesting what you want in life in very simple terms. And that's what I do in the first half of this book, too. I give my version and say everyone needs to find it in their own words, but creating success is not difficult at all. In fact, it's very simple. I have a very simple little system I developed the day I turned 30 that turned me from a poverty case to a very wealthy person.
Okay, we have about 4 minutes. Share that with us.
Okay, I'll try to do it in a minute. The day I turned 30, I paced up and down, and I took a sheet of paper, and I remembered this little game I'd played years before that I'd forgotten what I even said then, but I wrote ideal scene at the top of my sheet of paper, and I imagined 5 years had passed and everything had gone as well as I could imagine. What would my life look like? Much to my amazement, because I'd had no business training or very little experience, no education in that area at all. I had no money at all. I was scrounging to pay the rent. When I wrote my ideal scene, I wrote, I have a publishing company. Publishing my own books.
I've never written a book. What are you talking about?
I know. I dared to dream my ideal. That I had my own company, and I did books, and I did music. I do music, too. And when I dared think of my ideal, I added what is my unique contribution to humanity. I said, I have a life of ease, too. I don't work too hard. I have built a multi-million-dollar company without ever working more than 20 to 30 hours a week. That was my goal. That was my ideal. Well, of course, as soon as I dared write my ideal, I was overwhelmed with doubts and fears. And dealing with doubts and fears became the most important work of all. But that became my goal. Once I had a goal, it changed my life. It completely changed my life.
Well, wait a minute. A lot of people, they set their goal, the doubts and fears come along, and they realize,